Are you prepared for the OSHA National Emphasis Program on Outdoor and Indoor Heat Hazards? OSHA's National Emphasis Programs, or NEPs, are temporary programs that focus the agency's resources on particular hazards and at-risk industries. Existing and potential programs are evaluated using sources such as inspection data, injury and illness statistics, reports from NIOSH, the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, and peer-reviewed literature. OSHA's NEP was recently launched to drive the development of the first ever federal heat standard to protect millions of workers from heat-related illness and death. Building upon OSHA's ongoing initiatives, the NEP greenlights OSHA to conduct heat-related inspections on high-risk worksites while encouraging protective measures such as training, acclimatization procedures, and access to water, rest and shade. The NEP will last for at least 3 years or until the standard is released. Typically, on average it takes 7 years to develop a federal standard. The OSHA NEP was initiated on April 8, 2022. So why now? Climate change is increasing the danger of extreme heat, with 18 of the last 19 summers being the hottest on record. Workers are suffering with over 3,500 heat-related illnesses and injuries each year, and there's an unproportioned number of injuries among minorities. The OSHA NEP has targeted over 70 high-risk outdoor and indoor industries, primarily within construction and manufacturing, where exposure is particularly high. These targeted industries were selected based on recent heat-related incident data recorded by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, as well as the highest number of OSHA heat inspections and OSHA General Duty Clause violations and hazard alert letters that have been issued over a 5-year period. So, what can someone expect? Compliance safety and health officers will initiate inspections at random on days the National Weather Service has announced a heat warning or advisory for the local area. If the heat index is 80 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, inspectors and compliance specialists will engage in outreach and technical assistance to help keep workers safe. When all elements of a violation are established, area directors are responsible for issuing citations for hazards under the General Duty Clause. Hazard alert letters, HALs, may also be sent. These OSHA inspections will review injury and illness logs and incident reports as well as records of emergency room visits and/or ambulance transport. Workers may be interviewed for symptoms of heat illness and dehydration. Inspectors will then gather information in order to determine if the employer has maintained a heat illness and injury prevention program, and if they're monitoring and documenting relevant conditions, such as the heat index, National Weather Service heat alerts, as well as the type of heat source, the level of exertion the employees are experiencing and the duration of employee exposure to the heat extremes. In order to be prepared, especially those within industries that have been targeted, employers should consider several steps to best protect their employees and their company. Best practices can be made by ensuring that their safety policies address heat-related hazards, implementing appropriate acclimatization periods for new employees, making sure they have developed a means to monitor both the daily heat index as well as employee exposure to heat during extreme heat cycles. Finally and importantly, they need to make sure employees are properly trained on recognizing heat-related illnesses and are prepared to respond to any emergency they may encounter. Under OSHA law, employers are responsible to provide a workplace free from known safety hazards. This includes protecting workers from extreme heat. An employer with workers exposed to high temperatures should always establish a complete heat illness prevention program. It's critical to have someone dedicated to implement the program when temperature extremes exist. They must be able to promptly identify critical hazards, and then put into place meaningful procedures to protect employees such as rest, shade, and employee hydration protocols. They must also ensure that workers are acclimatized and be ready to modify work schedules accordingly in order to limit exposure to temperature extremes as much as possible. As we said earlier, it's extremely important to make sure employees are trained to recognize issues caused by heat-related illness and are prepared for any emergency response procedures that may be necessary. Occupational heat stress is the net load in which a worker is exposed from the combined contributions of metabolic heat, environmental factors, and the clothing or PPE worn, which results in an increase in heat storage in the body. Occupational factors that contribute to occupational heat stress are as follows. working during extreme or high heat index periods. Individuals who aren't consuming enough fluids to replenish what's being lost. Exposure to direct sunlight. Limited shade and limited air movement. Heavy job load and physical exertion. And finally, with the addition of heavy or restrictive PPE, occupational heat stress becomes a serious issue. To help you be prepared, we offer an array of valuable tools through our Hydration Safety 365 program. Our qualified team stands ready to assist you to develop your customized heat illness prevention plan, as well as support your training needs, and are available to conduct on-site facility assessments so that you can implement a full-scale heat illness prevention program at your location. We offer an arsenal of education materials and optimally formulated electrolyte replenishment suited to fit the needs of any hydration program. Preparation is key. We stand ready to assist you and help you understand how the OSHA NEP can affect you. If you have further questions, please feel free to call us at 800-654-1920 or visit us on the web at www.sqwincher.com.